Hi everyone, we are going to talk about the subject and content of art. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to differentiate representational art and non representational art. Second is to discuss the difference between an artwork's subject and its content. The third one is to identify the subject matter and specific examples of art. The third one is to enumerate the sources of the subjects of some of the most recognizable works of art in Philippine art history. In viewing art, there are clues that mediate between the artwork and the viewer, allowing the viewer to more easily comprehend what he is seeing. These clues are the three basic components of a work of art. The first is the subject. This is the visual focus or the image that may be extracted from examining the artwork, the what of the artwork. The second is the content, the meaning that is communicated by the artist or the artwork, the why of the artwork. The third one is the form, the development and configuration of the artwork, how the elements and the medium of material are put together, the how of the artwork. First, the subject of art. Subject of art means that there is always subject that serves as the foundation of the creation of the work of art. It refers to the main idea that is represented in the artwork. Kung sa Bisaya pa, unsa ang punuan nga ideya ana nga artwork. The subject in art is basically the essence of the piece. To determine subject matter in particular piece of art, you have to ask yourself the questions: what is actually depicted in this artwork? What is the artist trying to express to the world? What is his or her message? And how are they conveying that message? For example, the painting of the famous Filipino painter Juan Luna's Spoliarium, which often misspelled as Spolarium. What is the subject of this artwork? What is the main idea of this painting? Do you know that Spolarium is the largest painting in the Philippines with a dimension of 4.2 meters by 7.6 meters? And this painting inspired the title of rock band Ehad's 1997 hit song Spoliarium. Juan Luna's Spoliarium brought historical triumph not just to Luna but also to the Philippines in 1884 when it bested Spanish artists and won a first-class medal in Madrid Exposition of Fine Arts. The foreigners were shocked when they knew that the one who bested among the best is Filipino. What is the subject of the painting Spoliarium? Spoliarium is a Latin word referring to the basement of the Roman Colosseum, where the fallen and dying gladiators are dumped and devoid of their worldly possessions. The depiction of Roman cruelty in the painting has been interpreted as an allegory or as like a symbolism for the state of the Philippines under Spanish rule, because during this time, around 1884, Philippines was under the Spaniards' colonization, and Luna felt the pain of the abuse even if he was at Madrid at the time. On 1958, the painting was shipped to Philippines as gift from the government of Spain. It was broken up into three pieces, with each piece going into its own shipping crate because of its size, and it was too big, so they have to break it into three. And let's go to the sources of subjects of art. What are the sources of subjects of art? It may be found in primary source such as artwork, autobiographies, film of the artist, interviews, diaries, speeches, letters, photographs, documents, nature, history, mythology, Christian tradition, sacred Oriental texts, and others. It can also be a person or it can be yourself. Sources of subjects of art seems like what we call an inspiration of our artwork. For example, the inspiration or the source of the Song of Ehud's Polarium was Juan Luna's Polarium. Types of subjects. There are two subjects of artwork: representational or objective arts, and non representational or non objective arts. Representational art refers to art which represents something, whether that be a tree in a landscape, apple in a still life, or figure in a portrait. Or, in other words, it is art which is clearly identifiable as something which already exists in life. Again, it is clearly identifiable. An example is Mona Lisa by Da Vinci. It is clear that it represents a woman with interesting smile with a landscape as a background. And do you know that Mona Lisa painting cannot be bought or sold? Truly priceless. The painting cannot be bought or sold according to French heritage law. As part of the Louvre collection, Mona Lisa belongs to the public and, by popular agreement, their hearts belong to her. Few more examples of representational art. A watercolor by John Singer Sargent, which represents a white ox. The painting of Joaquin Sorolla represents fishermen in Valencia. The painting by Paul Cézanne represents apples on table. Representational art does not need to be completely realistic depiction of the subject. There will often be varying levels of abstraction. For example, the Impressionists painted with loose brushwork and simplified forms, often far from a realistic depiction, but their work can still be identifiable as something which already exists. The painting by Claude Monet is loose and vague, but it still clearly represents a bridge, boats, and distant buildings in an ambient seascapes. The opposite of representational art is complete abstraction, where the lines, colors, and shapes themselves are the focus of the artwork rather than any existing thing. This is known as non representational art. The painting by Wassily Kandinsky is a great example. Kandinsky may well have intended for this composition to represent something which already exists, but the abstraction is so extreme that to most people it is just an assortment of lines, colors, and shapes. This painting is extremely abstract. However, it is still representational of something. It is not what you would typically associate with representational art, but there is an argument for it. The more realistic depiction of the writer is more typical of representational art. Kandinsky went through many changes in style during his lifetime. As you can see from this painting and the two prior, this provides an interesting study in levels of abstraction. From complete abstraction to more representational works. The line which separates representational art from non representational art is still a gray area. Art will always be partly subjective by nature. Content in art: the meaning or message that expressed or communicated by the artwork. And in understanding the content of art, it is important to note that there are various levels of meaning. Factual meaning means that the most rudimentary level of meaning for it may be extracted from the identifiable or recognizable forms in the artwork and understanding how these elements relate to one another. The next kind of meaning or message is conventional meaning. It pertains to the acknowledged interpretation of the artwork using motifs, signs, and symbols, and other ciphers as basis of its meaning. These conventions are established through time, strengthened by recurrent use, and wide acceptance by its viewers or audience and scholars who study them. Third kind of meaning is subjective meaning. When subjectivities are consulted, a variety of meanings may arise when a particular work of art is read. This meaning stems from the viewer's or audience's circumstances that come into play when engaging with art. What we know, what we learned, what we experience, and what values we stand for. Meaning may not be singular, rather multiple and varied.